Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Fabled Lands. I know it's been a while on this channel since I played this game last, and this is the first time I've recorded Fabled Lands with the updated software. Yes, that's right, I'm recording this one with OBS instead of OBS Classic. Hopefully slowly porting all my old recordings over across, but anyway. The Serpent King's Domain DLC is now available, so we're going to be playing again. Now, I'm led to understand the Serpent's King Domain is high-end late-game stuff, and I did consult with my viewers whether I should use an existing character or start a new one from fresh right from the beginning, and it was pretty unanimous to start right from the beginning, so here we go. For those of you unfamiliar, Fabled Lands is a vast world-roaming, very much open-world style gamebook adventure. We have 6 classes available for our excursions into the world, and whichever class I select I will be playing on champion difficulty. Now this does mean that in certain locations I will save the game. There will be a little bit of toing and froing. If I have a particular quest to go to a particular place and do a particular thing, and there are 3 different things I could encounter at that place, only one of which could allow me to do the quest, I am likely to return to that location frequently. I'm going to try and keep it fairly organic though. So we have the warrior. The warrior fights stuff. They've got a good combat ability score. Nice little sanctity. Everything else takes a bit of a while to build up. With the mage, who's got a good magic score. The priest, who's got a good sanctity score, obviously. The rogue, who's good at thievery. In fact, every ability score has a class that is good at it. The wayfarer is good at scouting, so we're missing a charisma class. And here is the troubadour to fill in that role. And then we're back around to the warrior again. Now, I am drawn to the warrior and priest initial skill sets. The choice is essentially cosmetic. Once we get a few levels under our belt, the characters can become a bit samey, which is okay. You're going to want all ability scores to be high to be competent. The warrior has tactical assessment, 3 action points. We get 6 action points a turn in combat. For 4-turn cooldown, by examining your opponent's weaknesses, you're able to exploit them, gaining +1 damage. Your enemies will adapt in 4 turns. And then the cooldown will reset and we can do it again. So it lasts until the end of the cooldown, that's good. Stunning blow, rush forward in a straight line to any enemies within 4 range, hitting it for 50% maximum weapon damage, and pushing it to an adjacent unoccupied tile. The enemy is also stunned for 1 round. I'm liking those. I'm also liking the priest abilities. Curse. 3 action points, 5-turn cooldown, range 4, duration 5 turns, bring down disfavor upon 1 enemy. The target suffers -3 offense and -3 defense for 5 turns. And cleansing flame. 4 action points, 6 cooldown, range 3, as opposed to the range 4 of curse. Hurl a pillar of holy fire upon 1 enemy. Deals maximum weapon damage. If target is cursed, deals 120% damage instead. I like the priest skill set. The priest is not very good at fighting initially. They have to learn to be a bit more worldly. And we can play a boy or a girl. I think we'll make this one a priestess. And let's make her pretty. She can have lots of ornaments. A nice gnarled looking staff in favour with some of the gods and goddesses she is likely to worship. As for garments, I think I will stick with the starting colour, but I'll change this for... that one? That one. I like the way it looks on the arm better, not so much down here. Let's look at the boots. Okay. Screenshotting that for the thumbnail. And let's see. You're a traveller whose desire is to learn all she can about the deities of the Fabled Lands. Your strong beliefs give your sermons added zest, and you have enthralled many a crowd with your impassioned speeches. You're looking for the House of Priests in Marlock City. Yes, we are indeed. And let's give her a nice name. I had a bit of think of this before I got recording. I reckoned I'd give her a sort of Indian or Middle Eastern name. I had a look at a few, which were all very pretty with lovely meanings, and I'd settled on Devika, which means little goddess, which is appropriate for one who is burgeoning with divine faith and power and wisdom, and likely to increase in that manner. So let us begin. Upon the greatest journey of little Devika's life. Maybe she's like 5'2" or something. Maybe even smaller. Who knows? She may be small, but she is great in faith. The approach of dawn has turned the sky a milky grey-green, like jade. The sea is a luminous pane of silver. Holding the tiller of your sailing boat, you keep your gaze fixed on the glittering constellation known as the Spider. It marks the north, and by keeping it to port, you know you are still on course. The sun appears in a trembling burst of red fire at the rim of the world. Slowly, the chill of night gives way to brazen warmth. You lick your parched lips. There is a little water sloshing in the bottom of the barrel by your feet, but not enough to see you through another day. Sealed in a scroll case tucked into your jerkin is a parchment map your grandfather gave you on his deathbed. You remember his stirring tales of far-sea voyages, of kingdoms beyond the western horizon, of sorcerous islands and ruined places filled with treasure. As a child, you dreamed of nothing else but the magical quests that were in store if you too became an adventurer. And here indeed is a large and wonderful map showing many places of the world, including the recently added Ankon Konu and portions of the Violet Ocean that were previously unavailable to us. We appear to be near the island of the Druids, although we don't know where little Devika thinks she might be. You never expected to die in an open boat before your adventures even began. Now we can skip the introduction here, but I won't, on the off chance that some of you might not have experienced it before. And because my viewers told me to start from the beginning, I'm like, okay, we'll do the whole experience then. Securing the tiller, you unroll the map and study it again. You hardly need to. Every detail is etched in your memory by now. According to your reckoning, you should have reached the east coast of Harkuna, the great northern continent, days ago. A pasty grey blob splatters onto the map. After a moment of stunned surprise, you look up and curse the seagulls circling directly overhead. Then it strikes you. Where there's a seagull, there may be land. You leap to your feet and scan the horizon. Sure enough, a line of white cliffs lie a league to the north. Have you been sailing along the coast all this time without realizing the mainland was so close? Hey-ho, White Cliffs of Dover. Steering towards the cliffs, you feel the boat judder against rough waves. A howling wind whips plumes of spindrift across the sea. Breakers pound the high cliffs. The tiller is yanked out of your hands. The little boat is spun about out of control and goes plunging in towards the coast. You leap clear at the last second. There is a snap of timber, the roaring crescendo of the waves, and then silence as you go under. Striking out wildly, you try to swim clear of the razor-sharp rocks. For a while, the undertow threatens to drag you down, then suddenly a wave catches you and flings you contemptuously up onto the beach. It's time to begin your adventure. Battered and bedraggled, you lie gasping for breath until you hear someone walking along the shore towards you. Wary of danger, you lose no time in getting to your feet. Confronting you is an old man clad in a dirty loincloth. His eyes have a feverish, bright look that is suggestive of either a mystic or a madman.
Well, 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 what have we here? Friends? Asks the old man.
He seems to be talking to someone next to him, although you are certain he is alone.
Looks like a washed-up old adventurer to me, he says in answer to his own question. All wet and out of luck.
He carries on having a conversation that quickly turns into a heated debate. He is clearly quite mad.
Excuse me, excuse me?
You shout above the hubbub in an attempt to grab the old man's attention. He stops and stares at you.
Is this the Isle of the Druids? You ask impatiently. Indeed it is, says the old man. I see that you are far from land, so it is up to me to welcome you to Harkoona. But I think you may have much to do here, as it is written in the stars that someone like you would come. Your destiny awaits you. Follow me, young adventurers.
The old man turns smartly about and begins walking up a path towards some hills. You can just see some sort of monolithic stone structure atop one of them, probably druidic. I could follow him. I could just bugger off and explore the island on my own, or I could check to see if anything else washed up on the shore from the ruined boat. You find a small vial holding a reddish concoction. You bless your good fortune when you realize it is a healing potion. I will not forget to click on the item in the chest to transfer it to my inventory.
Come on, I'll show you the gates of the world, the old man babbles,
and so we shall follow him. During your short trip upward, the old man regales you with tales of your destiny and fate, continuously arguing with himself as he does so. Let's make a move. To the obsidian stones. You reach a hill covered with a circle of large obsidian standing stones. Despite the bitter wind that blows across these hills, the stones are unweathered and seem almost newly lain.
Here are the gates of the world, says the mad old man.
The stones are laid in such a way that they form 3 archways, each carven with mystic symbols and runes of power.
Each gate will take you to a part of the world of Harkoona, though I know not where, explains the old man.
Suddenly he passes his hands over you, mumbling a prayer to the gods. You receive a special blessing. This allows you to re-roll any failed roll once. After making a second attempt at the roll, whether successful or not, the blessing is used up. We have gained a luck blessing. Abruptly he turns about and sets off down the hill, babbling to himself. His voice fades as he descends the hill, leaving you alone with the brooding stones and the howling wind. There are 3 stone gates engraved with ancient runes. Each gate is marked with a name: Yellowport, Marlock City, and Wishport. From here you can see the coast and the whole island, which is heavily forested. Let us consult with our map. Yellowport is here in Saqqara, Marlock City here, and while it is not clearly marked on the map, Wishport is just here in this little bit of the coast in the southeast of Golnia. Let us explore the island further, as there may be things we can do here to prepare ourselves for a trip to the mainland. We have just lost everything in a shipwreck after all. You decide to explore the island further and ponder where to go next. You have a clear view from the top of the hill of the northern parts of the island, and you notice a previously unknown to you road that snakes along the cliffs' tops. We shall go to this little trading post down by the coast. The trading post is a small village set up here by enterprising settlers from the mainland. Its main export appears to be furs from the forest. The mayor, a fat, genial fellow who greets you personally, insists that one day the trading post will be a thriving town. There is not a lot here yet, however. A small market, a quay, the settlers' houses, and a shrine to Lacuna the Huntress, goddess of nature. Also, House Stash. You found an abandoned house, which you claim as your own. When back in town view, click on the chest icon to access your new personal storage. Note that any items or shards that you store here are accessible from any house you obtain. I really wish there would be a patch or mod or difficulty setting to make that impossible, because I don't like stuff teleporting around as if some kind of international transportation company knows exactly where I'm going to be going next before I even get there. Or perhaps I just sit there and wait for all my things to be delivered every time I reach a new dwelling. We have a marketplace, an inn, and some temples. Let's visit the temples. You want to see how the divine is represented in this settlement. There is a temple of Nagil and a shrine of Lacuna. We will not visit the temple of Nagil yet, but at some point in the not too distant future. We will want a little more scouting, and it's either charisma or magic before we visit the temple of Nagil. Let's visit the shrine of Lacuna. The shrine is set in a wooded grove. Birds twitter in the trees, and a deer darts away into the forest at your approach. A priestess is tending a low altar where food and drink has been laid out in honor of Lacuna, the goddess of the wilderness. She is the patron of hunters, trappers, woodsmen, and those who seek oneness with nature. Let us speak with the priestess. The priestess, dressed in silken robes and wearing a wreath of oak leaves, says, "I have need of an adventurer like yourself. For arcane reasons involving the secret mysteries of Lacuna, I need the tusk of a boar. A were-boar, in fact. Hunt down one and bring me its tusk. In return, I will teach you how to be a better scout. We shall accept this mission." And we have accepted the priestess's mission. Let us leave the temple. And indeed, the trading post itself entirely. I won't read repeat sections that come up too much in the same episode, but when I come here again, I gladly will. Let us go along the coastal road. You're on the coastal road that snakes along the windswept cliff tops in the north of the Isle of Druids. As you can see here, if we roll a 9 or higher, we'll be attacked by a wereboar. If we don't, we may need to visit this location a number of times yet again. Oh! Use a luck blessing? I think so. Much better. A wereboar in ornate armour comes thundering out of the undergrowth near the road with a raised spear. There is no chance of retreat or surrender in this battle. I feel unhappy that I squandered such a good blessing of good fortune, but I am pleased with the result. Let us back up to here and encourage the boar to approach. He is too far away for the cursing of the gods. Let us merely end our turn. And again, there we go. He is now cursed. A cursed creature. He is weakened and has decreased offense and defense. He thrusts at us with his spear, most savagely, and now we will send the cleansing flame of the gods to devour his impiety and purify his soul and body. We also got a little bit hurt, but we have a healing potion. The creature's armor is too heavy to suit you, but you can take a hunting spear and a boar's tusk. Grab your acquisitions and continue onwards. We will take the boar's spear and tusk. The spear does 2 to 5 damage compared to the 1 to 7 of our staff. And Cleansing Flame is based on the maximum weapon damage, not the average weapon damage or minimum weapon damage. So it is in our interest to get weapons of a high maximum. So weapons like staves and spears and stuff would be good for us. Weapons like swords and lighter weapons with a better average are good for regular attacks. We'll need to balance that because of cooldowns. Let's make a move. I'm going to go for a little walk in the forest before we return to the trade post. That's a bad idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. The trees are closely packed, leaning together as if in conference, whispering quietly among themselves. Birds twitter in the distance and slivers of sunlight lance down through the musty gloom. As you proceed along the forest track, you think you hear a rustling in the bushes. Later you spot a shadowy figure darting through the trees, or was it your imagination? An animal snuffling sound right behind you makes you spin around, but there is nothing there. Let's make a scouting roll. We're in with a chance, and we were successful. Now we're going to wish we had that blessing of fortune. Because we've found something, and something normally means an ability test of some sort. You struggle deeper into the forest until you come to a thick wall of impenetrable thorn bushes. Circling it, you find there is a break in the hedge, but it is filled by a large tree. To your surprise, a face forms in the trunk and speaks in a woody voice. "None can pass. Begone, human." Let's try and persuade the tree to let me past. You explain what a tree lover you are and that your heart has always been at home in forests. You portray yourself as the greenest adventurer ever. Let's roll. Charisma time, and we are successful. Oh, the gods are watching us. Well, I suppose I could let one such as you through, says the tree thoughtfully. Then it uproots itself with a great tearing sound and shuffles off out of the way. There you go, says the tree. You may pass. You walk through the thorn bush gate. Beyond, you find several oak trees whose branches are so big that they are able to support the homes of many people. Welcome to the City of the Trees, says a passing woman dressed in the garb of a druid. The city has been built amid the branches of several mighty oaks. Ladders run up and down the trees to houses that perch like nests in the branches. You are not allowed into any houses, but the druids allow you to barter at the market. Here at the market there are a number of goods for sale, none of which we can afford, but we do learn that a number of books that require great scouting skill can be purchased here in the future. Let's go and visit the leader of the druids. You are brought before the druid's leader, the oak druid, a bearded fellow with earth and leaves all tangled up in his hair. He asks you to perform a service for them.
take this oak staff to the willow druid in the forest of Larun. The sacred grove where he lives will be hard to find, but I'm sure you can do it. The willow druid will give you something to bring back to me. When you return with it, I'll make your techniques of tracking and your wilderness lore better.
We shall accept this task. You accept the task at hand. You remind yourself to take the oak staff on the way out. That sentence is there because some players did forget to take it with them during early access, and there was a bit of a hullabaloo about it. It was the first quest item that many of them had come across in the game. We are back in the City of Trees, and it's time for us to depart. Now, we could head to the trading post, and we should head to the trading post. Here, we shall visit the Shrine of Lacuna once again, and speak with the priestess. The priestess, who is wearing the skin of a wolf and is covered in red paint, welcomes you gleefully. At last, the tusk of a were-boar! Now the ceremony can go ahead. The priestess rewards you with knowledge. Our scouting has increased permanently to a 5. That's all good for us. Let us leave the temple and the trading post. We could stay here and try and heal a little at the inn, but we'll go to the obsidian stones on the hill instead. And we shall step through one of the archways. Yellowport is traditionally one of the better starting locations, but we will go to Marlock City instead. Shall we? Yes, I think we shall. You step into the archway. Immediately the symbols on the stone begin to glow with red-hot energy. Your hair stands on end and your body tingles. A crackling nimbus of blue-white force engulfs you. The sky darkens and thunder and lightning crash and leap across the heavens. Suddenly your vision fades and everything goes black. When your sight returns, you find yourself outside the gates of a huge fortified city. A guard starts in surprise at the sight of you. Then he shakes his head as if to clear it. Sure, he must have imagined what he just saw. The gates open and a troop of heavy cavalry canter past.
"Make way for the Marlock City militia,"
says the guard. When they have passed, you walk into the city. Marlock City is a huge, sprawling metropolis, enclosed in a fortified wall said to have been built 1,000 years ago by the ancient Shadar Empire. It is the capital city of Saqqara. Marlock City was once known as Sokar, until General Grieve Marlock led the army in bloody revolt against the old king, Corin VII, and had him executed. The general renamed the city after himself. It is now a crime to call it Sokar. The general lives in the old king's palace and calls himself the Protector General of all Saqqara. Whereas the old king was corrupt, the general rules with a fist of iron. Some people like the new regime. Others are royalists, still loyal to Nergan, the heir to the throne who has gone into hiding somewhere. Outside the city gates hang the bodies of many dead people. Labels around their necks read, "Rebels executed by the state for the good of the people."
"You'd best behave yourself if you don't want to end up like one of them,"
grates a guardsman, nodding towards the swinging corpses as you pass through the great eagle-headed gates of Marlock City. To leave Marlock City by sea, or to buy or sell ships and cargo, go to the Harbour Master. We absolutely could go to the Harbour Master, but first, we shall visit the Three Rings Tavern. The Three Rings Tavern is a comfortable inn near the city centre. The tavern costs you 1 shard a day, Each day you spend there, you recover 1 stamina point if injured, up to the limit of your normal unwounded stamina score. We shall pay for 1 night at the tavern. As a kind of house rule, I'm going to generally avoid resting more than 1 night on any given place where I can. At this point, we've spent one of our 16 shards, the coins of these many realms. We could spend 3 more to buy a round of drinks all round the bar and listen for rumours. I think we need to get a little bit more money before we can indulge in that kind of expenditure just yet. What I shall do, however, is explore. I want to go visit the Temple District, as it greatly interests little Devika. But for now, we are not going to do that. We are going to explore. You stroll through the streets. Marlock City is teeming with people. Let us visit the Street of Entertainers.
Psst! Come here, friend.
Someone whispers from the shadows. Let's see what he wants. Devika is fairly new to large cities and urban life, so she's not too suspecting just yet. Although she does have the wisdom and common sense of the gods, so she's not going to fall into too many traps.
Want to try your hand in the gambler's den?
Asks a short, dark man dressed as a mercenary bodyguard.
Just 5 shards entrance fee.
He nods to a door at the top of some rickety stairs. We will pay the money. We may wish we had not. He smiles and takes you into the gambler's den. You're in a smoke-filled casino, full of all kinds of dubious characters playing cards and dice. Well, when in a casino, you might as well gamble. Decide how much you want to bet to a maximum of 20 shards. I'm just going to go for 2 shards for now. You bet 2 shards. It is time to roll the dice. We will take whatever result the gods give us. Win twice your bet. Well, we're going to get out now while we can, before we risk losing it all. Let's take our leave of this establishment. You're about to leave when you see a crowd gathered around a slim, pasty-faced scholar at a card table.
By the 3 fortunes, but I'm hot tonight, he cries.
It seems he's on a winning streak. You notice a couple of dodgy-looking ruffians watching the scholar carefully. Well, no need to leave right away. Let's wait until the scholar departs and then follow after him. Sure enough, when the scholar leaves, purses bulging with shards, the 2 ruffians also leave. You follow at a slight distance. As you suspected, the ruffians wait for a suitable moment and then set about the scholar.
Help! Help! Thieves!
Cries the scholar in a thin, reedy voice. Let's chase the muggers away. Look, they'll be confused by the darkness, they won't realise how truly pathetic our combat score of a 2 is. Hopefully. You rush in, taking the ruffians by surprise. A couple of good buffets around the head and they run off. The scholar lies groaning on the ground. Well, we could finish the job and rob him, or help him to his feet. Let's do that instead.
Oh, thank you! Thank you!
Coughs the scholar. He gives you a vial of yellow dust as a reward. We shall take the vial of yellow dust.
I found this at an ancient archaeological site I have been studying, he says. I believe it needs to be thrown into the holy waters at the village of Blessed Springs, although quite what happens then I have no idea.
He thanks you again and takes his leave. Let's head away from Marlock City for a while, and we're going to avoid Shadar Tor until our combat score is a few points higher. We could head to Kirstmoor, but again that can be rather dangerous, and it has the word that sounds like cursed in it, and is a moor. We probably don't want to go there. let us instead head to Trefoil. Because the Blessed Springs are all the way up here. The forest is there where we are to deliver the staff. If we can go up to the Blessed Springs, pop across to the forest, come back down again, it may be okay. The main road between Marlock City, Trefoil and Karan Baru is well maintained with regular guard posts. The Sakarans are nothing if not efficient. Let us see, what do we find on the road? A sword. A lucky find in the bushes near the road. Someone must have left in a hurry as you stumbled on an abandoned campfire and a fine sword lying on the ground. Oh, I see. The campfire is lying on the ground as well. You continue onwards. The city of Trefoil is a terrifying vision of apocalyptic destruction. It had once been a thriving crossroads town, but now it is a burnt-out hulk. It was almost razed to the ground when it declared for the late king during the recent civil war and tried to hold out against the army of Grieve Marlock, the current Protector General of Saqqara. It was then sacked by the General's mercenaries, and General Marlock is now trying to rebuild it. Craftsmen are hard at work everywhere. Unfortunately, there is nothing here but ashes and rubble. Let us depart then for Yellowport. It might have been slightly safer to go to the forest first. Yellowport is the second largest city in Saqqara. It is mainly a trading town and is known for its exotic goods from distant Ankon Konu, way to the south. The Stinking River brings rich deposits of sulfur from the Lake of the Sea Dragon down to the town, where it is extracted and stored in the large waterfront warehouses run by the Merchants Guild. From here, the mineral is exported all over Harkoona. Unfortunately, all that sulfur has its drawbacks. The stink is abominable, and much of the city has a yellowish hue. The river is so full of sulfur that it is virtually useless as a source of food or of drinking water. However, the demand for sulfur, especially from the sorceress guilds, is great. We should note that sulfur is a valuable trading commodity. Politically, much has changed in the past few years. The old and corrupt king of Saqqara, Corin VII, has been deposed and executed in a military coup. General Grieve Marlock and the army now control Saqqara. The old council of Yellowport has been indefinitely dissolved, and a provost marshal, Marlos Marlock, the general's brother, appointed as military governor of the town. To leave Yellowport by sea, buy or sell ships and cargo, go to the Harbour Master. Well, we will not go to the Harbour Master, but we will go to the Gold Dust Tavern, which is a plush inn beside the city gates. The tavern costs you 1 shard a day. Each day you spend here, you can recover 1 stamina point, if injured, up to the limit of your normal unwounded stamina score, and we will do just that. Before taking our leave of Yellowport and heading up to Venefax. Venefax is a strange-looking village. It looks like a single gigantic building. All the houses are joined together to form a jumbled mass, and none of the houses have doors. The only way in is through holes in the rooftop. There are literally some ancient towns built into the side of cliffs, designed like this, I think, in the Middle East of our own world. Ladders lead up to the roof, which, in effect, forms a network of streets that the inhabitants travel across to get to certain buildings.
"We had to build it that way for defence," says a passing farmer. "You see, the Scorpion men from the south cannot climb, so they can't get inside the town."
Wandering around, you clamber down a ladder into a long, low hall, the Venefax Market. A sign reads, "Closed on Thursday." Fortunately, it's not Thursday, and a stocky, barrel-chested man with piggy eyes introduces himself as Furs, the master of the market. There is not much for you to buy or sell in this provincial market. Items of no purchase price are not available locally. Well, we could sell a short sword or a spear, and it would net us a decent amount of money. So 4 action point attack, 5 action point attack, as opposed to like the 5 or 6 for our staff. I think I can afford to part with one of these. 2 to 5, 1 to 6. The reach on the spear may be good. If we are attacked by foes with great reach, we might want to close distance, which would cost a point of movement, and then we'd have... Oh no, so we close... I'll keep them both for now. It's fine. Because it is not Thursday, we shall leave Venefax. Don't worry, we shall return at some point. You're on the road between Blessed Springs and Venefax. Pilgrims, the sick and injured, travel this route to the holy waters of Blessed Springs to find salvation. Oh, you know what? Nothing happens. I shall return to Venefax, and I will sell both these weapons. The gods saw fit today to ordain that I should travel with a humble staff, and until I find good need of another item, those that I found by the wayside are of little use for me. I can claim that taking the spear from the boar was a sign that the gods were giving it to me, but for now I'll do that, and I'll move this staff to this end so that I do not get confused, and I will head back to the Eastern Road, where I'm blessed by a priest. Of course. Why would Devika the Devout not be blessed by a priest? She gains a safety from Storm's blessing, which is used to protect against storms when sailing around in ships. Or, to quote the Wind in the Willows, messing about in boats. The village of Blessed Springs, nestling at the foot of a tall hill, has grown up around the holy waters. A special spring said to have healing powers. It has been fenced off by the villagers, and a priesthood appointed to supervise the supplicants who come to bathe or drink of the spring's waters. There is no market, but an alchemist has set up shop here. Let us explore the holy waters. You have heard stories of the holy spring and its healing powers. The village has basically grown up around it, and you have limited places to openly go to due to the guards hired by the priests of Mulhern to patrol the area. Still, you think that you can pay a visit to the holy waters? A wooden stockade encloses the springs. At the gate, 2 militiamen stand on guard, and a priest dressed in blue robes sits behind a desk. 35 shards to enjoy the divine spa, says the priest, which we shall pay. You find a wide pool of bubbling electric blue water. It gives off a strong, invigorating scent like crushed pine leaves. We have a vial of yellow dust, which we have been instructed to pour into the water. However, this is not marked on the quest log. This is some manner of secret quest, but we shall do so all the same. You scatter the powder on the surface of the waters. There is a flash, and a cloud of yellow smoke billows up out of the pond. When it clears, you find yourself face to face with a white-bearded, bespectacled old man floating a few feet off the water. He is dressed in long, flowing, ornate robes. He blinks at you for a moment before saying, "Thank you.
That worthless apprentice of mine. Can you imagine? I told him to throw the dust into the holy waters, but the idiot couldn't even be trusted to do that.
The old man's name is Olifard the Wizardly. As a reward, he casts a spell that enhances your skill. Add 1 to the ability of your choice permanently. Well, looking at our character sheet, our highest ability score is Sanctity, and our lowest are Combat and Thievery. I don't think the gods would approve of little Devika stealing all too often, but she may come up against opponents of the faith who deserve a damn good thrashing, those vile ungodly heathens who will not listen to reason or be swayed by sound preaching, so combat shall be increased.
Ah, I see that you have some powers in the arcane arts, said Olifard the Wizardly. There is something I need, if you can get it for me. I will teach you how to advance as a mage. It was Vase, the sea dragon, who turned me into powder. He stole my magic chest in which I store all my magical equipment. Without it, I am virtually powerless. Meet me in Trefoil when you have it.
We shall accept this task. Where is Vase, you ask?
Why, in the Lake of the Sea Dragon, of course, he replies.
As he leaves, Olifard gives you an amulet of protection. Description says it works like a charm. We have our amulet of protection and a new quest, and this one has been added to our quest log. It is apparently hard, probably because of some of the things it will require us to do. It would give us a rank if we were a mage. We are not. +1 magic would also be appreciated. You find a wide pool of bubbling electric blue water. It gives off a strong, invigorating scent like crushed pine leaves. We have paid to enter. Of course we will bathe in the holy waters. You strip off and wade into the bubbling waters. The effect is astonishing. You feel a sense of well-being coursing through your body. If you are suffering from disease or poison, we are not, you are cured instantly and can restore your abilities to normal. When you are ready, you leave the area. Now, I'm going to stop here in the village of Blessed Springs and end the episode because I think I've been playing for a decent amount of time. I hope you've all enjoyed this first episode, and I will look forward to seeing you all in the next one, when we will have many new objectives available, and I'll talk about those next time. For now though, I'll bid you all a fond farewell. Goodbye everybody, good luck, and see you all next time.